Hello, my darlings. Thank you for tuning into the Seasonal Pages podcast, where listeners like yourself can hear about content such as books, writing, and more. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Today, I will be reading my first love letter session for the Seasonal Pages podcast. I'm pretty excited to tell you about this love letter because I enjoy reading and especially reading letters that I find at antique shops. And I figure, why not bring you joy and pretty much read to you what I end up finding at different antique shops. So, this one in particular actually really made me smile and made me happy when I first found it. I couldn't help but have joy when I read it because usually I don't read letters that I purchase from the antique shop until I get out to the car or I'm at home because I kind of like to be surprised and go into a whole routine of reading a letter. Even though I know some people say, like, what do you want to read at the store? I'm like, for me, I'm a little bit different because I just want to read it as if it's a book or a story. So I kind of wait till I get home. That's just me when it comes to letters. And so you would be surprised when I read this letter. I was not expecting a love letter because I've read all types of letters. I've read letters about family life, about vacations, relationships, yes, friendships, children, being a parent. I have read all types of letters. So for me, I just like to keep my options open when it comes to getting letters. So this one was really surprising and sweet. And so I hope that you enjoy this letter and also see why I enjoy collecting letters. So imagine a very vintage looking letter from 1910. Yes, 1910. That's how old this letter is. It's over 100 years old. And imagine pretty much a vintage looking letter that has a bunch of stamps over it, that has green 1 cent stamps that look very old, but classic. That's what this letter looks like. And it also has very stunning cursive handwriting on the front of it with the address. And also the letter has cursive writing. The letter also has very vintage brown paper and pretty much is written very uniquely. It has a story to tell that I'm excited to tell you. So imagine on May 30th, 1910, a person named Fred wrote to his dear friend, Gertrude. They both live in Kansas, but live in two different areas of Kansas. Fred lives in Manhattan, Kansas, and Gertrude lives in Enterprise, Kansas. And so he decides to write her a very long love letter. And that is what I'm reading for you today. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy this letter. It is May 30th, 1910. Fred writes to Gertie. My dear friend Gertie, please do not think this letter is rude or imposing, for it is not my intention to be either. Gertie, for months I've been thinking about writing to you, and at times I could hardly keep myself from coming to Enterprise to see you. I have went with several girls, and I have tried to love them, but I can never think of them as I did of you. I have never felt hard towards you, although at times it may have seemed so to you. But I did it trying to do what you asked me to do, to forget you. I did me the world a good when Marie told me that you had always asked to tell me hello. Now, Gertie, I am sending you a man's love, and I do hope with all my heart that you may not shun me or shun it and regard it as anything else but pure and honest. I do not know how you feel towards me, nor have I heard very much about you for a year or two. It seems like 5 years to me. Now, if you have any regards for me and have changed your feelings towards me, just one word would make me the happiest man in Manhattan. Please write to me and tell me whether you would make me happy again. But remember yourself before you remember me. I wish I could explain my feelings more fully in this letter, but one word from you would bring me to your side, hoping that this letter would not make you feel angry, but happy, and asking forgiveness for being so insisting. I remain always your true friend, Fred. Wasn't this letter so sweet? When I read it the first time, I was just like, this is so nice. This is so kind. And it made me wonder, did Gertrude write back? Did Fred ever get his answer? And how did she feel when she got the letter? Those are the things I was thinking when I read this. And even reading it again to you, it made me think about it once again. How did she feel? What made them break apart in the first place? So many questions. What do you think? Do you think she responded to him? Do you think she just threw away the letter? Do you think they met in person? I'm not even sure. It would be so nice to know that they ended up together. I think that's something that I do adore about letters. It's pretty much open ended, and it could have ended up so many different ways. And some letters that I find, you know that they end up together because it's like a collection of them. And so you pretty much know that they end up together because it'll be like, for example, I can't wait to marry you today, or um, I love you and I'm writing to you as I sleep next to you. You know, like you're kind of getting like a better understanding of how it ends. But with this one, it's more open ended. What happened? And this was over 100 years ago. So, how do you feel about this letter? Do you find it adorable? Do you think it's sweet? Do you find it remarkable? Do you think he poured his heart out enough? If someone wrote this to you, how would you feel? Will you be, this is so sweet? Would you keep the letter forever? What exactly would you feel if you got something like this? I would be excited. I would be happy. I love letters. So for me, I would definitely keep it. I still have letters that I've gotten from my significant other from like 7 years ago. So I love collecting letters. I just adore them, which is another reason why I have pen pals as well. I'm just one of those people. So if you heard any paper ruffling, it's just because I was opening and closing it for you. And because the way this letter is written, it's written in a very unique way where you have to like twist and turn it because of the way that he wrote the letter to Gertie. So I thought this letter was adorable and so sweet. And I'm glad that I found it. I cannot wait to find more letters to read to you. I won't always read love letters. It would be all types of letters that I find interesting. I have come across letters that are like straight to the point and they're like cool for me to read, but I would want to give you letters that have like so many things to speak on and kind of resonate with you. So I look forward to reading more letters to you through this podcast and pretty much letting you know different things that I'm finding, stuff that I find interesting. I really hope that you enjoyed me reading this letter today. I hope that it resonated with you. It made you think about love, it made you think about writing and think about storytelling and books. These are one of the reasons why I also love books. You get a chance to hear different stories, different plots, learn about different characters. And letter writing is pretty much the same, except for it's not like a character, it's a real person that wrote this letter. So I really hope that you get a chance to read more books, read letters, write letters, embrace different stories, and pretty much enjoy your life. It's so many things to learn and so many ways to connect to others. And I just connected to these two different people because of a letter. And I'm very curious to know how it ended. But I'm okay with knowing that it's a what if to this letter. That's the fun in it. You get a chance to kind of come up with your own story in your own mind and get your brain to be creative. So that's why I read to you today. Of course, always stay tuned for more episodes of the Seasonal Pages podcast, where I will speak on books, letters, writing, journaling, pen paling, and so much more on this particular podcast. Always stay tuned. Don't forget to check out theseasonalpages.com and follow the Seasonal Pages on Instagram.